I like fire, I like nitro, I like getting it wild, I like a bit of blast, I like taking it fast, I like going to the end and doing it with no...
Today on review we are looking at Trials Evolution for the Xbox 360, which you can find over on Xbox Live Arcade for $15 or 1,200 Microsoft points. Well, for anyone who have not played Trials in the past with Trial AD, Trial is pretty much made up of you going through distant obstacle courses as a motor kart rider and having to figure out how to get to point A to point B in the quickest time possible to unlock metal to go throughout the game. The only catch here is the trial is not as simple as it might seem. Trials seem to very lovely like going on more the crazy side, especially in Trial Evolution, with such level of playing level from like Limbo or jumping between sky islands and going through caving in mountains and pretty much anything you can imagine. It more than likely is in Trial Evolution, or at least in the minigames anyway. Because a lot of the minigames are made up of such games like Marble Madness or Metal Explosion Man and see how far you can make it on one tank of gas. The minigames are very unique and way more unique than they was in Trial AD, with multiple game types you can play within this to keep you busy outside the main quill mode. With the main quill mode mainly made up of you going from plate to plate, completing a couple of trials for each area you in to earn bronze, silver, and gold medal, which in return will be posted on the leaderboard for your time for your friend to compete against you, and also the medals are also used for unlocking later stages. And every couple of stages you will unlock a license challenge, which is made up mainly of tutorial teaching you how to do the ins and outs and the more complex stuff in Trial. Since Trials are all physics based, and you only have technically 3 buttons, or 4 if you count the joystick of leaning back and forward and then gas and brake, and teaching you the ins and outs of how to get past some of the more complex things later on down the road. And if you complete them, you will unlock more motorcycles you can control. And on the motorcycle side, every motorcycle you unlock is fully, not mechanically, but look-wise editable. You can go in and change the paint color for every inch of your bike, while along with your actual motorcycle rider also. You can of course buy now t-shirt, helmets, and outfit for your character, which is not much here and they all look fairly similar, but at least you can actually change the color of it and kinda try to make your rider a little unique, if it's not the most deep side of it. And then bringing over your custom rider and bike into the actual multiplayer is made up of mainly of time trial, with you competing against your friend for top time goals. You can do that very similar to how it was in SSX, the recent SSX, where you can race against your friend Ghosts and figure out exactly how do they do some of these more complex things and get through the level as quickly as they do. Right along with you can actually have multiplayer here, which you and 3 other riders will be on the same track, racing to the very end. Sadly, it's not really anything unique here out of the gate. It's mainly the same old jump and continue onward type of deals. And if you do in local co-op, anytime you fall, you will respawn in the same screen as your friend, which will keep the rate fairly interesting and stop being one-sided, but sadly that's not the same for the actual online multiplayer, which is working checkpoint system, very similar to the actual game itself. So in many cases you can quickly fall behind and just straight out lose. And after a few heats, each character will given point based on where they are in the overall weight, which will decide the final winner overall. And then Trial also have something that is very unique to itself. And of course now you have a fully in-depth level editor, to the point of you have a massive landscape already made, and you can go in and choose where you want your event to actually take place, and no longer picking from static environment. A whole island is up to you, while on to the ability of building your own random islands and towns and stuff in the sky, or changing the territory that is default, like lowering, weighing, mounting, deleting buildings, and having multiple items in the game you can actually use to make more complex ramp, weather, lighting, and so on. And then in the more complex editors, and you get 2 editors, and the light editor and the complex editor. In the complex editor, you will get asset to such things, triggers and targets and making prefab for anyone who are familiar with PC game modding or game design. Some of these things might seem very familiar to you, and in many cases this is what made this editor very unique. This is the most user-friendly and most complex editor I have actually seen on a console, and this is where the main draw becomes from, because since you have a online network of your friend right along with a in-game web browser, more or less a web browser, which you can go through and download people tracks right now and actually compete in leaderboards on the unique tracks. And the tracks are made up of tagging, and you can sort for username if you have a friend that have level and you want to find it straight off. It is so smooth and fantastic across the board when you come to this. And if you get to the point of trial where you beating your head against the wall because it's only a matter of time before it happened, you have all the downloadable level you can play to keep you interested, or you can make your own. But on the difficult setting in the actual single player trial, you have way more level than you did in Trial HD, and the actual difficult, it get a much better and take longer to actually get to beating your head against the wall, and in return actually give you more, feel like you're accomplishing more within the game itself. So overall, I can't help but recommend Trial for anyone who is interested in level design, competing with your friends, or just playing a solid game across the board. Any of the soundtrack could probably get on your nerves a little bit if you're not a fan of rock rap 90s goodness. So overall, I give Trial Evolution a 5 out of 5.